Hi, my name's Gordon and I'm going to take you through a new piece of software from Required Systems. This software is called How Good Is Our Home, and it's a way of measuring your compliance with either the CQC audit statements or the infection control audit statements. The one we're looking at here is the CQC audit. I'm going to take you through what we're seeing on the main screen here of this piece of software. In this column here you'll see a list of all of the 28 outcomes and standards to be audited in a CQC audit. This column here tells us if all the data has been entered for a particular standard, and you can see it has for this one, but the data has not all been entered for this one here. This column shows us the level of compliance in each of the standards, and if we scroll down we can see the compliance percentage there. Compliance is measured as a percentage. It's a measure of how many compliant criteria there are for each of the standards. At the bottom of the column we get an overall average total compliance. You'll notice that the compliance is colour coded using a traffic light system. Green means that the standard is compliant at a level you're happy with. Amber means that there's still some work to be done on reaching compliance, and red means there's an unsatisfactory level of compliance. We'll come back to how we go about setting these colours later. You'll also notice, if I scroll across here, that we have a graphical representation of our compliance. This is a good way to get a quick look and see which of our standards are compliant and how far the other ones are falling short of compliance. You see all 28 standards, and for the infection control you see the 10 standards in the graph. Everything on this screen which is underlined is a link, and when we click on that link it takes us to another screen of the software. So if I click on the user notes link here, it takes us to a screen with a set of notes telling us how to go about filling in this measurement tool. Also on every screen you'll find a link which takes you back to the main screen, so clicking on there takes me back to the main screen. Let's look at how we go about actually filling in the data then to measure our compliance. Let's take the second outcome here, consent to care and treatment. When we do that, a grid opens up which has got a list of all the criteria down here, the 16 of them, and there are a number of columns up here, one for yes we are compliant, one for no we're not compliant, one which can be used to say this criteria is not applicable to our particular situation, and there's a space here to make a brief comment. The data for this standard is incomplete, as we saw on the main screen, and we can immediately see which two of the criteria have not been filled in, because they're highlighted in blue here. As soon as we fill these in, so let's put in a 1 there and a 1 there, let's say we're compliant in both of these, immediately the blue highlighting disappears to show that we've completed the data. Also, if we accidentally put a 1 in twice, we will get a red highlight to show we've made a mistake. We can't be both compliant and non-compliant at the same time in one of these. So let's go back and change that. Now if I go back to the main screen, we should see now that this data is complete and the level of compliance should have changed. So there we are. Yes, data entry is complete and our compliance has gone up to 93.8%. Okay, so how do we go about setting the threshold for the red, amber and green? If we click on our compliance colour scheme link here, it opens up this screen which allows us to set the values for red, amber and green. At the moment 90% and above would be green, 80 to 90% would be amber, and up to 80% would be red. Suppose we want to change this to make compliance for green to 99%. If I do that and then go back to the main screen, you'll notice now that the ones which were previously green at 90% have turned amber. The graph at the right hand side here automatically gets updated every time data changes in one of the grids. This software has been written using the Excel package, and Excel is available in Microsoft Office in both the PC and Apple Mac. It runs on all versions of Excel. This system is a good way of keeping track of multiple homes, so if you have a number of different homes you can maintain a separate spreadsheet for each home, and you're able to compare the level of compliance between homes simply by looking at the screen, or of course making printouts in a colour printer. The spreadsheet can be saved, and in my particular version of Excel I go up to this button here, I click on there and I click on save, and that allows me to save the spreadsheet as it is at the moment. So there we are. How good is our home? for CQC audit, and how good is our home for infection control. 2 tools to help you to measure your compliance with the CQC standards for infection control or for the main audit. Thanks for listening.